and gentlemen, welcome to the DarkMatch, the finest low-budget amateur made-of-know-nothings podcast on the entire internet about men in tights pretending to fight. I'm your host tonight, Jingus. I am here with...
Christopher says, and I have a grudge against Mafia, but I don't know if we'll get into that.
And I am No Leaf Clover, and this is What is Iron Sheik tweeting now?
Oh boy.
God damn it. I can't do a good Sheik impression, but...
None of us can.
But the latest Sheik tweet is, I like the abort Del Rio. He gave real gi. Make he not like the Virgil.
So is Virgil his barometer for shit?
I don't even know what he said.
Well, how many times have you seen Virgil wrestle? I mean, he had a couple of decent matches here and there, but not many.
I saw him at the local mall once. He was signing autographs.
Giant wrestling?
He was signing autographs and showing the one match where he beat Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Was there no one around him? Was it before the convention started, making the picture look funnier?
No,
I'm just imagining his video loop. I mean, it's like, hey, here's Hulk Hogan slamming me. It's the same 10 seconds over and over again.
Speaking of Hulk Hogan...
I actually have a picture of that. Maybe I'll put it at the end of the video. But at any rate, welcome once again to DarkMatch. You may notice that there is, one less person than there usually is. That's because everyone either got sucked into Hypertime or they're all douchebags and bailed. One or the other.
We're assuming that it's some kind of alternate dimension thing where a bunch of mist sprung up and we're the last people alive on Earth holed up inside of a shopping mall.
Oh.
I don't think I liked that movie.
Yeah, I was thinking Silent Hill, but then you went into something that I don't know too much about, but I hear The Mist is good, so.
It's okay. I'm not a big fan of Thomas Jane, but still.
Anyway, the topic tonight is Impact.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Double I.
TNA Impact Wrestling Impact. But we will get to how confusing this whole thing is at a later date. But let's start off by doing what they do on every show. Let's start off by talking. We start with Hulk Hogan backstage with his cardboard pipe.
Yeah, he's in the parking lot.
Yeah. Waiting for the network representative to show up. Bischoff comes up and is like, oh, Hulk, don't do it, brother. You don't have to do it. Let's just handle this. Whatever. And then we get a recap of Karen Jarrett calling Velvet a fucking slut.
By the way, one thing, is it just me, or does Eric Bischoff look more and more like Ric Flair as he's getting older?
No, yeah, he's starting to get emaciated, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, I noticed there is a definite Flair resemblance there now, which is incredibly ironic with their history. But
yeah, particularly like his head, his face started to get a lot thinner, more wrinkly, and his hair looks like a toupee.
Yeah. Well, he is. I mean, what, 50, 60 years old? I mean,
Bischoff? I can't remember how old the fucker is.
And he's always had gray hair. He went bald. He went gray like real young in life, so. And basically the entire time he was working for WCW, he was dyeing his hair black.
Until he just, the new blood, when he came back to WCW, and he was just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
But we move from that recap on to Jeff and Karen Jarrett in the ring.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. With an appeal to Kurt Angle to call a truce. Jeff Jarrett says, this is the first time I've done one of these in my life, certainly in this situation. And he hands the mic, in an intelligent move, he hands the mic to Karen Jarrett. She says, don't, respect me. I'm a mother of your children, and don't, and also, leave Big Daddy, leave Jeff alone.
And, by the way, Jeff Jarrett handing the mic to Karen is kind of like Bret Hart tagging out to Tiger Jeet Singh. I mean, there's just a massive drop in quality from one to the other.
Yeah, and the irony of this feud is that, though, I think it's endeared me to Jeff Jarrett more, and I never really liked him.
He's kind of the face. He's kind of the face in this whole situation.
Well, yeah,
He's the only innocent party. We know Kurt Angle is a legit real-life douchebag. Karen Angle seems constantly annoyed by her fucking kids and only lives to torment her ex-husband. Jeff Jarrett seems like he's just stuck in the middle of a really bad fucking stupid divorce.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing he's done that's been, like, reprehensible has been when they did the false police call thing and had Kurt arrested, and Jeff was helping out on that. Everything else he's done has not been heelish. He's like a man, he's standing up for his wife. He's like, well, Kurt, you don't love her anymore, but I do, damn it. It's my family, and you're attacking us, and I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, and of course, like, all those segments with his kids, like, he was pretty much just trying to be the good father and hold everything together.
Yeah,
he was bad at it, but it's not his fault he's clueless.
He took their kids to a fucking amusement park. Just for fun. And they had a fun day, by all intents and purposes. I know it's a work, but still. So, like, that's not something a bad dad would do.
It's giving me flashbacks to Opryland, the old Nashville theme park. We used to have one. Then they tore it down and put in a mall. Thanks, guys!
Malls are cool, especially if you're a mall rat like me.
Not cooler than roller coasters!
Cue Joni Mitchell. But, anyway, after this, Kurt Angle comes out, after they call him out, Jeff Jarrett has his hand outstretched throughout the entire thing, and Kurt Angle's like, you know what? It's done. It's done for you, Karen Jarrett. And, you and Mr. Douchebag are gonna have to, you have pressed all the right buttons, and although I tolerated it because you're right, you are the mother of my kids, you don't realize what you've done, you and Mr. Jackass. And that sacrifice, me and my associate are gonna take you down, but I'm not gonna reveal who she is yet. Just sizzle it a little bit more.
Dun, dun,
you gotta let it sizzle. You gotta let it sizzle. As Michael Jackson.
I'm a fan of, instead of 15 minutes at 400 degrees, he's more like 25 minutes at 250 degrees.
Yeah, we all knew it. By this point, we all knew who it was. Everybody I guess nobody in the Impact Zone knew who it was, but still,
But yeah, I was counting on this promo to have like every kind of flimsy insult for Jarrett from Angle, but it didn't happen.
Well, someone pointed out in the chat that, like, Kurt Angle, was it you, Christopher says? It's like, well, Kurt Angle is cutting his John Cena promo where he starts off quiet, and then he gets super duper hyper. And
I actually forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me. But yeah, that was me. He was pretty much just like talking normally, and then he started talking like this. At Sacrifice, I'm going to take you down.
Yeah. So now we have Kurt Angle ripping off John Cena too.
Well, no, I thought it was Anderson that ripped everyone.
Anderson is quite literally every wrestler that has ever existed, including Tiger Ali Singh.
Yeah, it's like...
No, Tiger Jeet Singh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, you're right about...
Both of them!
You're right about Angle ripping everything off. It's like that Olympic slam, like, he didn't innovate that shit. Randy Orton did.
What the hell's an Olympic slam? Is that like the Orton slam?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Randy Orton invented that in 2009.
Yeah, the Orton slam.
But,
note to any noobs listening, we're being sarcastic.
we're not marks too much.
At any rate.
We go from there to a match between Madison Rayne and Tara and Mickie James and Tessmacher.
Hey, 90 seconds of wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, most of the match seemed to be promising because it started off with Mickie James versus Tara, and they were mostly doing like arm drag takeovers, some interesting stuff and stuff you don't see at the smoothness with the other knockouts usually.
Yeah.
But,
wait, you mean two girls who can actually wrestle?
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but think, man, if this was like 4 years ago on SmackDown, this would have been perfectly fine. This would have been a good match. Not now.
You want to know what it is? Because I keep saying to myself, Tessmacher, she's not a great wrestler by any stretch, but she has some promise. She's a good bumper. She seems to be able to do spots well, and to be slightly misogynistic, even though I know there are certain people listening, she has a fantastic ass.
She didn't strike me as incompetent, but then again, she was in there for so little, there wasn't much to watch. And that one victory roll did look a little bit awkward there, but I couldn't tell whose fault that was.
No, it looked awkward because she was on Madison Rayne's shoulders for a long time, and I think she started corpsing, going like, "Oh, it's so much fun to be up here, victory roll."
Whee!
Yeah.
And like,
where's the ball now?
And man, whoever, I don't know if like it's the writers just telling Madison, okay, what you need to be doing every single second is screaming like a spoiled, petulant, self-entitled brat. Or if Madison made that decision, but whoever made that decision, I hate you. I fucking hate you. I'll smack you in your ovaries, even if you're a man.
But
you're right. I don't get Madison's whole gimmick now. And as has been repeatedly pointed out, why is Tara at all intimidated by Madison Rayne?
Yeah.
She's got like 2 feet on her. She's way stronger. She's out of kayfabe dirt.
God only knows.
Much more talented.
God only knows. There's a hidden angle coming up where Madison Rayne essentially owns Tara's soul, and she's the devil, and if she wins at sacrifice, which I hate to say might happen. Contract. But
well, I mean, it's in any normal company, this would be, hey, Tara wins her freedom, and then they have a feud. But this is TNA.
Wait,
this is TNA. I can't believe they actually used to do that.
Wait, is this match a Knockouts title match, or is it just Mickey versus?
No,
they added the stip of Tara. Tara is free of Madison if Mickey wins.
Yeah.
Mickey
and who added it, and how did they add it? Here's something which pisses me off about TNA. They never basically recap what happened last week. I didn't watch last week. I don't know what happened. The only thing he showed me was that Hogan's rental car had your neck spray painted on it, and they said, "Oh, Goldberg's coming," which, as we know, is blatant false advertising and a fucking lie, and fuck you, TNA, for that. Yeah, as Goldberg, even if he wanted to, he's not coming in unless Dixie convinces her parents, hey, we need to spend several $1 million on a 1-year contract on this guy.
I would honestly be quite amused if not only do they bring in Goldberg, but he does his network rep out of character. He's like, well, I want to do what the fans want, and they want the ratings, and this match between Sting and RVD will do that.
Oh, come on! Goldberg doesn't know how to talk anything but this. But, yeah, back to this match. It was not good. The entire match was basically Madison screaming at different people. And you're right. Why is Tara let her do this? Tara's not only twice her size, she's twice her age.
And skill.
Why does a essentially middle-aged woman let this punk kid run wild on her like this?
Again, there's obviously something that they're conveniently leaving out. I
mean, if they just explained how, yeah, I know that TNA's always doing like 3 heavily implied lesbian storylines at any time, but they'll never actually come out and say any of it. And it's just like, why does she put up with this screaming? And I mean, fuck, Tara lived through like the cross-dressing Stevie Richards angle. It's not like she doesn't know how to put up with some bullshit and make it work for her.
But yeah, I want to talk about this next backstage promo where I mean, after the match, Tara and Madison argue, but we go backstage. Ric Flair is kind of shimmies on into Hogan and Bischoff's office, and Hogan's like, "You son of a bitch! I know you're the network. I know it's you. Your picture's everywhere. You're the dirtiest player in the game. You must have done this." And Flair's like, "Are you out of your mind?"
No.
I'm arrested.
Are you crazy?
And
you think I'm the network? What's the matter with you? Who do you think you're talking to?
Like it becomes like heated to like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I was just like, I jumped the gun. I was under a lot of stress."
To like, 5 minutes of Hogan apologizing and Ric Flair saying, "You are Hulk Hogan! You are the man! You're better than this!"
An award for most pointless segment goes to...
And Flair, briefly shows up later, but this is basically the only time that he talks tonight. And why is he back? Didn't he just have shoulder surgery?
Well, why keep him away from the ring and make sure that he doesn't have any kind of physical harm? Why not set yourself up for another lawsuit, I guess? It's not like Rick can't...
Rick, stay home for a month. I mean, it's only been, a fucking month since lockdown? They don't need him already. Has it been a month since lockdown?
Yeah, just barely. Just about.
But yeah, we go from that one backstage promo to another with Tara kind of complaining. Yeah.
Worst fucking promo. I'm like, and then she's like, and then I'm like, and then she's like, and then I'm like, and then she's like, and 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 that's my concise summary of what that promo was.
So yeah,
Jesus
if you couldn't figure it out by then, it's Tara and Madison. Tara's like, "Oh, she's such a rat. I can't wait to be free of her." And Madison's like, "Did you call me a rat?" And Tara's like, "No, I called you a skank."
Rat.
And says, "Oh, you bet that I lose my match because if I win it, you'll be miserable after Sacrifice. I'll bring you in by a chain or."
Why? Why would
Actually, I'm amused by the idea of her leading her in on literally a leash, but still.
We go to another backstage promo. This one also kind of like the Flair and Hogan one because it just keeps it's so circular. Like Tommy Dreamer is followed around by this talking cameraman who keeps on asking, "Why, Tommy? Why? You want
really fucking rude cameraman?" Because Tommy's on his cell phone. He's like, "Brother, I'm on the phone," and he's like, "Yeah, but why?"
He's like, "Why, Tommy? You want to know why? You wouldn't understand
way to make
why.
your evil heels look like a reasonable person who's being harassed."
But that doesn't explain why, Tommy. You wouldn't understand why, cameraman. AJ comes out. "Tommy, what are you doing? Why?"
AJ busts out of that.
You wouldn't understand why.
Yeah, that fucking trailer they always have inside the building in the back. Why do they have a trailer inside the building? I don't know. And they only ever use it for guys to suddenly jump out of the door and surprise somebody else.
You want to know why Tommy Dreamer did what he did? I don't know. Maybe because AJ Styles forced him and beat him in a hardcore match.
Yeah, that came up. It was actually my favorite part of the promo where Tommy says, "You wouldn't understand, AJ. You're just too young and innocent." And AJ's like, "Bitch, I stuck a fork in your eye and made you say I quit."
Yeah. And AJ's also like, "Dude, I've got 3 kids. It's not like I'm some young teenager myself.
I'm over 30 years old."
Yeah, story is that essentially Matt Hardy possessed Tommy Dreamer, and now the only thing he could say is that if you could walk in my shoes, then you'd know hell.
Yeah, and God, another fucking angle. How many times have we seen AJ Styles in angles where his former WWE superstar opponent is basically like, "Oh, yeah, you never worked in my company. You didn't share my history. That means you're fucking nothing and nobody, and you mean nothing, and nobody should watch you, and no one should take you seriously."
Angle, Matt Hardy.
And when that's the line everybody hits on AJ, time and time again,
it's like
sooner or later, the fans are going to be like, "Yeah, they're right. Everybody fucking says that."
It's like 30 years later when AJ Styles is like Ric Flair's age and he's wrestling someone maybe like 2 years a senior in a different federation. They'll be like, "You're just too young, AJ."
Samoa Joe saying, "You little punk." I remember back in 19 I was wrestling Fritz Von Erich in the Sportatorium while you weren't even born yet.
But another backstage promo. This one getting into the whole gritty, realistic shoot style of TNA's backstage promos. We have Sting at a photo shoot.
By the way. This is 4 in a row backstage promos.
Yeah.
4 backstage promos.
But he's posing with the world title. The cameraman's following him around and saying, "Why, Sting? I mean, what are you going to do about RVD, Sting?" And he's like, "I don't know, man. He's in one of the greatest martial arts ever. He's one of the greatest martial arts. He zigs, I zag. He zags, I zig. I'm going to bring it to him."
Rob Van Dam is one of the greatest martial artists ever?
Maybe.
Well, hey, he can knock all your fucking teeth out with one kick, as we'll see later.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was gross.
After that kind of hype promo for Sunday, we have Beer Money, some kind of recap of them just being one of the...
Yeah, there's a recap. It's like, Beer Money is great. And then, hey, another fucking promo! Wrestle! Wrestle!
Well, now that he's done with that. Anyway, never mind that.
Because we never, ever steal other people's bits on this show.
Yeah.
What?
But, yeah, Mafu. Anyway, Beer Money, they cut a promo on Matt. They're like, dude, you're keeping our partner a mystery. God damn it, it's Jeff. It has to be Jeff. It's no one else but Jeff. And don't do this again. You're bringing a disastrous tornado onto the company, a self-destructive tornado, and just don't do it.
By the way, even now, Beer Money versus the Hardys, it's a match I wouldn't mind seeing.
Fair point.
So.
No, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I can.
But
it isn't that either. They're not even going to risk controversy, which I would never put TNA past by using more people inebriated, and they said they keep down. But Matt comes out, and this promo becomes there's absolutely no threat to Matt's side. Every time he says one thing, Rude or Storm says something that just makes him look like a child.
yeah,
I mean, Matt Hardy cut the most ineffective heel promo. It was so generic.
Yeah, it was just like, you just have a bunch of egos, and Rude, you're young and you're a Canadian, and nobody likes Canadians, and well, who makes jokes like that? So he says you're drunk, Storm, and Storm says, like, bitch, you got nothing on me, and he's like, oh yeah.
By the way, a Hardy Boy accusing somebody else of intoxication.
I know.
Oh yeah, exactly. I was gonna.
I'm not sure if he was trying to be ironic or if he was just that damn stupid.
No, I think he was just projecting. That's all.
He's like, yeah, I've known addicts like that. They're like, everybody's on something, man. Either they're drinking or taking some prescription pills. Everybody does something. No, they fucking don't. Just because I do doesn't mean everyone else does.
Anyway.
And so, then the reveal.
James Storm, I have someone that knows you inside and out. Chris Harris. Braden Walker.
Yeah,
they claimed it was Chris Harris. That looked like fat old Braden Walker to me.
Yeah, really.
He has a great...
You know what? As much I read the spoilers, and as much as I was gonna be like, it's only Chris Harris, I was like, maybe he got himself back in shape. Maybe this isn't a total bad idea. And then he walks out on the stage with his hands on his hips, and I'm like, fucking A, he doesn't give a shit anymore. What is even the point? God damn it, they want to break up Beer Money and put AMW back together. This fat fuck doesn't give a shit anymore.
Chris Harris walking out looking like a clean-shaven Kevin Smith. Wearing all those layers.
Yeah, no kidding.
And giving just the most goggle-eyed, no-expression, dead fish stare.
Well, it looks like
this is the blankest I have ever seen a face that wasn't actually a corpse.
I mean, he looked like he was going to do one of two things. He was threatening to do one of two things. Either tell a knock-knock joke or knock somebody's brains out.
I mean, come on. Maybe we're giving him too much crap. I mean, everyone remembers that time he talked to Matt Hardy in the hallway. That's why they have history. They talk to one another.
That was widely covered on the Chris Harris on the Braden Walker triple disc DVD set, as we all remember.
It's definitive. All his match. You'll get to see all of his match. And
over 15 minutes of action.
That time he fought that other guy.
Armando, heel manager.
Oh,
By the way, how has TNA never hired that guy? He seems like exactly like the former WWE type that they would bring in for 2 months.
Well, I don't know where his lineage traces, but he's perfect for Mexican America, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move out of that.
And next, holy shit, a match?
Yeah.
Well, what show are we watching?
Indeed.
It's going to be
Talk about
wrestling?
parallel pocket dimensions. Sangriento versus Christopher Suicide.
Was that Daniels? Because I wasn't sure who played Suicide this week. He looked like he might have been a little thicker than Daniels.
He has Daniels' head.
Yeah, I know. He's got that weird, like, the tiny head. I mean, Daniels is like the guy voted most likely in his high school class to get his head stuck between the bars of a wrought iron fence. I know that. But, it's because he has a really skinny skull, you know?
The way I tend to tell is just that they want Suicide to have kind of all the same mannerisms, but the way Chris Daniels does it compared to the way Kaz does it and the way Okado does it, they're all so completely distinct that it's kind of easy to tell who's who.
Yeah. And, by the way, so, what is the, motivation behind, Sin Cara here? Because, I mean, let's see, we got
your own question, sir.
We suddenly have a new little luchador with a mask with no holes for his eyes or mouth, who does tumbling, twisting planchas over the top to the floor. Where have we seen this?
And he does head scissors with multiple rotations, and but instead of posing by pointing or doing subtle things, he spreads his arms out and tremors his head.
Yes.
Come on, guys. He is the hottest new star from Mexico that happens to be Puerto Rican.
Oh, yeah, and that physically hurt to hear Mike Tenay on commentary, because Tenay is a guy who legitimately knows his international wrestling. WCW in 1994 helped co-promote a Lucha Libre pay-per-view, which aired in America, from the AAA company called When Worlds Collide, and Mike Tenay was the lead play-by-play guy on that broadcast. He really knows what he's talking about, and they are exploiting and selling out that credibility he has there with him shilling an imaginary luchador that never existed.
It's such a blatant ripoff of Sin Cara.
Yeah.
And you know what? For what it's worth, this match wasn't bad.
Yeah, we got like a lot of good spots. We got Yakuza kicks. We got.
It was match of the night for what that's worth, but I would have expected a Red versus Daniels match to be better than this. I mean, it just felt that no emotion, prefab. They obviously scripted the entire fucking thing in the back and probably talked over it 4 times before they went out there. And it did not look like a fight. Not at all.
But
I mean, compare that match to the match we just saw,
I know.
Over an hour ago with
We're on a curve here.
Cara. 2 small guys. You would expect it to be a high-flying match, but that was a technical.
They were putting on a clinic like it. Yeah. But it looked
like a wrestling match. It didn't look like a choreographed dance.
I took this match for what it was worth. I thought it was decent enough, but I think we're now gonna have to touch upon Sangriento's finish, which I can't quite wrap my head around.
Yeah, let me springboard off the second rope, grab you, and then put your face into the mat, because
that's extremely E-fed. That's very much an E-fed finish.
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense. If a diamond cutter or any kind of cutter is where you wrench a guy's neck and you jump forward, then why would you jump backwards from a rope? And how does that work?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It looked cool. It looked cool. They pulled it off well, but just the momentum and the physics doesn't make sense.
That looks like a finisher I came up when I was in the Iceman Wrestling Federation when I was like 15. when the little E-Fed wrestler I had a move that was a choke slam into a tombstone pile driver.
Wait a minute. I'm trying to just visualize the physics of how that would possibly work.
No, they hold him up and then flip him over in the top of the choke slam, and then I don't know.
I'm trying to imagine Chris Jericho versus Jack Evans doing that move, and even with them, I'm having a hard time coming up with the mental picture of that would possibly.
And by the way, he was Jeff Hardy sized.
Oh, but we're talking about Impact Wrestling, and we can't. And even if we have a spot fest, a match, it's just a spot fest with nonetheless talented workers. Hogan, Flair, and Bischoff come to the ring, and with Flair, as Taz notes, kicking or kneeing Suicide in the Yam Bags.
Because, fuck cruiserweights.
Yeah. There was this guy on Twitter who said something to Eric Bischoff that was along the lines of, everyone says all you do is bury the cruiserweights, but you're the one that brought them to the United States. It was like, yeah, but he allowed fucking every one of his company's main stars to bury the shit out of them whenever the fuck they really felt like it, or whenever the fuck they were getting help.
Yeah, I think Bischoff does deserve some credit in that arena, because nobody else had ever featured that kind of wrestling on a major national platform in America.
Yeah.
Bischoff was the first guy to roll the dice and say, hey, I think it's worth my time, because, there was once a Tiger Mask versus Dynamite Kid match in Madison Square Garden, but then they didn't bring those guys back again. Bischoff was the first guy who says, hey, I want these guys on my show every single week. And wrestling each other and having fucking awesome matches. Now, the problem came when some of those cruiserweights were more over than a lot of the heavyweights. And the fans were like, hey, we want to see these guys in the main event. And Bischoff's like, no, they're in the second match. But he does deserve credit for just being daring enough to do that in the first place.
We come back from a commercial, and Hogan says, I demand to see that network representative that's been ruining our plans, and Mick Foley promptly comes out. And it sounds like he has laryngitis.
Mick, never ever wear your hair in that braided ponytail again.
And also, don't wear suit jackets.
Yeah, as if... It's amazing to think that Foley somehow found something which is uglier than his usual outfits, but he managed to with the suit jacket, and when he came back later, he was talking about it all night long, so he must have just thought, damn, I was sweating a lot out there. I wasn't expecting that. Sweating like Charlie Sheen at a child custody hearing. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and he goes on to say, oh, everything was good for Immortal until I showed up and threw a spanner in the works, and now, it used to be about Immortal, now it's about wrestling. That's what we're going to focus on, nothing but wrestling, because it's no longer TNA, it's Impact Wrestling.
Which would have, the announcement of the name might have been a lot more effective if the first time that name was ever said, Hogan didn't immediately jump in and talk over him.
You can't do that,
you can't do that, brother.
I honestly don't understand what problem Hogan has with it. It's a fairly arbitrary change. I don't know what kind of stake he has in keeping it TNA.
Yeah, that is something that since the very beginning, that name has always been. Okay, they've got 17 different anchors tied to their leg holding them down, but the name was one of them, and one of the bigger ones. Nobody is ever going to fucking take this company even 10% seriously, as long as they're called TNA.
And of course,
I remember there was a time when Hulk Hogan was actually on, of all things, The View, and he says, yeah, right now I'm working for TNA Wrestling, and all the chicks are like, wait, you're working for TNA? He's like, no, it's not like that. It's like his mom walked into his room and found his porn stash.
Yeah.
Wait, I can explain!
But
there's a reason why the chick is blowing the goat.
And to thicken the plot, good taste be damned. Vince Russo, at certain points, has said that he came up with the idea for the name TNA.
Yeah, he took credit for that.
Yeah, And don't know why you put, but it's Russo.
To keep this in storyline terms, let's recap here. Hulk Hogan stole the company from Dixie Carter. So Hulk Hogan effectively owns the company, but Dixie Carter has to front the money for the company. So Hulk Hogan has all the power until the network gets involved, and now through some sort of weird trans-dimensional magical sorcerer's portal thing, now Mick Foley has all the power that Hulk Hogan has.
Because it's the network, and so much of Russo's writing depends on your average mark in the crowd being an internet mark, and reading all the internet shit and knowing how this works, and knowing that in reality Spike TV does have power over TNA and can make certain demands of them.
Not to mention the network is their way of skirting the fact that that Hogan and Bischoff gave the contract to Dixie under false pretenses, and he should be in court.
Yeah.
I mean, they
never mind that never mind that less than half the people watching are not these internet marks and have no idea what the fuck they're talking about when Russo goes to the backstage shooty stuff that he loves so much.
But nonetheless, like, continuing with this exchange, this promo, Mick Foley goes on to introduce Kurt Angle's new mistress, and I wonder how these storylines intersected. Because last week, Jarrett and Karen seemed to be worrying more about Velvet Sky than the network.
Yeah. Why isn't Angle introducing this person?
I mean, he was the one who championed it in the first. I don't even think he was around, was he?
No, he wasn't.
Good guy.
I don't think we see Kurt Angle again until he has the fucking Battle Royal.
Yeah.
But Foley goes
Don't treat her like a woman, and don't treat her like a man. Don't treat her like you know. Don't treat her like you know her. Just treat her like who she is.
If we only knew. It's China, everybody. Yeah.
You know, I thought whenever China popped back on TV again, I thought I'd be happy to see her. You know, just because I wanted to know she was okay. But I was really hoping it would be in the fucking WWE. Like, I know there are all sorts of forces working against her to go back into that company, but I was like, if China has one last fucking run, I just want it to be in the WWE, because if it's in fucking TNA, good God help that one.
Well, no more WWE, because according to Vince, I was thinking of bringing her in the Hall of Fame at some point, maybe 60 years down the line, when I wouldn't have to pay witness to it. But now that she's gone and done this, no chance in hell.
And I will mention two positive things about this segment. Number one, China looked, by China's standards, pretty good. Considering how rough a life she's led over the past several years.
Her hands are huge, though.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. I expected her to walk out looking like a tall Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, it was probably a nice touch that her hair wasn't blonde.
Yeah. I mean, she looked like China again. She didn't look like, that crazy strung-out bitch who used to be China. But
yeah, another problem with this is that in both from this promo and the subsequent backstage promos, that she doesn't fucking say a thing. Like, she only stands there grinning.
That's a problem?
Yeah.
China was never the best promo cutter, man. Let's be honest.
But
her best work was when she was the silent person behind fucking Triple H.
But people know that she has a voice, and people know her from her media appearances outside of WWE, as embarrassed as they might be.
As our continuity girl points out, yes, she did look incredibly stoned once you got a close-up look at her eyes.
Yeah. Wouldn't shock me if she was.
No, I mean, how many times has she been in fucking rehab? But one thing I liked about this is the way Mick Foley delivered this promo, because practically none of what he'd been given to say made any sense whatsoever. But Foley has this way of either finding ways to downplay the bullshit parts of his promo or finding just some way to explain it. and then moving on and focusing on the important part and getting the point across. And I think he does really well at that, no matter how sweaty he is in a bad sports coat.
After you said that, I originally I was like, man, because I agree with what you're saying that Mick can do that, but it just didn't. How do I explain this?
It was a bad thing.
Foley is capable of cutting a great promo, but pretty much every time we've seen him in TNA, there's just something missing, man. I can't explain what it is. And it's not that the promos are bad. It's just that when you know how good he can be, it's like, man, there's something not there with him.
Well, it's like the sane and compelling base behind like what he's saying. Like he's trying to elevate bad shit as opposed to like competent to above average stuff.
Yeah.
And after he kind of puts over Impact Wrestling, he's backstage with Chyna. She's standing there, she's grinning, and he's like, "Oh, it's great to be back, man. We're gonna have a revolution with Impact now being just about wrestling and Impact and wrestling and Chyna over here is gonna change things." And the camera turns over to her and she just walks away. It pans back to him and he's like, "We always had some sexual tension going." Like deadpan, serious. Like I don't even know what the hell that came from.
That's actually been a running joke going back to like when they had a brief mini feud back in '99.
And it's a running joke from not just Mick's book, but also from Chyna's book, where Mick has like a 30-page chapter.
Oh. Well,
yeah, he's like, he did a promo one time. He's like, "There's been a lot of interaction between your hand and my groin. Sure, your hand up is balled up in a fist and traveling at high speeds, but I still count it, goddammit!"
Oh, Mick. I missed that Mick Foley.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
But now we have to talk about everyone's favorite asshole.
He's like, "Oh, Mick Foley's been holding me back from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I haven't been getting my rematch, and Mick Foley's been holding me back."
He's had like 27 fucking rematches.
Yeah, and plus he lost the title clean, so.
Over and over and over again. Circles and circles and circles again. God damn it, how many times does this guy get a title shot?
As many times.
I want my rematch. How many times do you want your rematch?
More!
Hey, you guys, remember remember that time when Mr. Anderson, I don't know if you knew this, but he's actually like an Iranian aide to like a huge leader, and he also in his spare time he teams with an ex-Soviet expat, or not even expat, but someone who's a Russian expat who was for the Soviet Union and keeps singing the national anthem. I don't know if you guys knew that.
What?
Did you just compare Anderson to Sheiky Baby?
And Volkov? Nickel and Dime Volkov? Really?
I don't know if you knew this, but Anderson's Amazing Red's brother.
Oh, I know what you're doing. I don't know if you know this, but Mr. Anderson is actually Justin Bieber in disguise.
I mean, they might as well have his promos be like, "And if you smell the bottom line, then brother, give me a, oh yeah."
The schizophrenic, shape-shifting gimmick guy. Anyway.
Why is he, by the way, a chaw-chewing, camouflage-covered, baseball-capped redneck now? I looked up his hometown. It's this charming little town just a little bit north of Chicago on the lake, with houses in it designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, and a nice little town square right in the middle. You're not like Brock Lesnar living out in the fucking woods, Kennedy.
Yeah, and not even Brock Lesnar sounded weird. He just had a lisp.
Brock doesn't have a lisp, does he?
A little bit.
It's over. S5. SmackDown. Shut your mouth.
It's not like Dusty Rhodes, blatant, but it's amazing the number of top wrestlers who have lipses. Or lispses. Lipsy? What's the fucking plural?
There's an
of
extra
lisp?
S at the end. Is lisp.
That adds like 2 extra syllables somehow.
Yeah, you gotta emphasize that sibilance there. Lisps.
But, like, I mean, between Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes, you know, and Brock Lesnar, and Jack Swagger, and probably some other guys I'm forgetting, I mean, a lot of lisps in wrestling.
Yeah.
But,
at any rate.
Yeah,
We have
and as pointed out by Ali here, what cruel bastard invented the word lisp to describe a person who can't say it?
Yeah, really.
It's like, you dick. It's like making retarded 3 syllables just so, what?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Allie's our very own Jack Handy.
I'm trying to avoid this next fucking match because it's awful.
Well, I wouldn't call it awful. I would just call it like criminally short and anticlimactic and.
I have to be honest. At this point, I had started playing Madden, so.
Yeah, it's to set up a Crimson versus Abyss match at the pay-per-view. They have a 3-way with Crimson versus Abyss versus Samoa Joe.
It just is
By
not.
the way,
fucking
And
does Joe seem to like gain and lose weight every time the camera cuts away? Because he looks like simultaneously like, oh, he's much thinner now than he was during his Nation of Violence penis tattoo on his face period. And then it'll cut away to a different angle and like, holy shit, that's fucking viscera.
He does not give a shit anymore.
And plus,
I
like,
don't know.
if we're talking about this match, I don't know how much in detail we went into the past few weeks, but we have to talk about the fact that Abyss's music has been changed, and arbitrarily so, and for no goddamn... It's basically changed into Daniel Bryan's re-debut theme. And his earlier one with the violin was much better. It was more fitting for his gimmick.
They should give him back his old music, which got turned into Monty Brown's music. That dun 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 dun.
Yeah. But aside from this, this match, it couldn't. Like I said, I started playing Madden during this match. I knew I had to watch Impact for the show. I was like, you know what? Let me pop this game back in, even though it's been annoying the fuck out of me lately. I'm just gonna watch this match. I'm just gonna play this instead of watching this match.
Well, you missed missed
Nothing.
Joe do his leaping enziguri. You missed him snap a pretty good power slam. You missed the anticlimax of Abyss hitting Joe with a black hole slam and Crimson spearing Abyss and getting the 1-2-3 on Joe.
This just, first of all, they're doing it ass backwards, because this should have been like a Crimson versus Abyss singles match to set up a Crimson versus Abyss versus Samoa Joe triple threat at the pay-per-view, not the other way around. Secondly, Joe basically seemed like the major focus of this angle, despite the fact that he's the one guy not in a match at the pay-per-view.
Well, because
Thirdly,
the thing is, you remember how you always talk about how they don't recap anything on the show? Because, ladies and gentlemen, Jengas does not watch the show when he does not have to fucking, do DarkMatch. So
yeah, I do not watch this thing unless I have a fucking gun to my head.
Yes, so not only did I have to polish my gun this week, gotta shake a wow, but he did
That's
not.
what she said.
But he did not see that last week, Crimson and Joe had a confrontation because I guess Joe didn't help Crimson. I forgot what happened. It was so stupid. I literally just thought about it, and my brain shut down to protect me from all the dumb. But yeah, they had a confrontation last week, so that's why Joe was a major focus this week.
Either way, it ended the same way as it did when I guess they were hinting at a Joe heel turn when I got scared as fuck that he was going to be immortal later. But no, it's just a case of Abyss beating down on Crimson and Joe going, yeah, fuck him up. He's a young guy. He needs to pay his dues.
Also,
whatever.
They kept showing a fucking close-up of Abyss's mouth with his teeth that Rob Van Dam kicked out.
Yeah, apparently missing all 4 of his bottom front teeth.
That was horrifying. I've never been more creeped out by anything in wrestling, including the Katie Vick angle.
Well, how about Mick Foley's missing teeth?
No, these are worse.
Yeah. This is worse. Far worse.
But, speaking of RVD, we go backstage.
Oh, wait. Ed, one more thing I have to add. I want to go easy on Crimson because he's a friend of several friends of mine. I know the guy who trained him. I know the guys who hang out with him and the guys who work out with him. And I actually, by coincidence, ended up announcing one of Crimson's very first matches on the indie scene. But Christ, he looked green out there tonight.
Yeah.
No fucking timing. He was out of position for half of everything. I mean, it's like, just give this guy, send him back to... Oh, TNA doesn't have a developmental. But if they did, send him back down for 6 months, then bring him back up. Because he's got potential, but he ain't there yet.
Yeah, it's... this match. Well, at least it was wrestling, before all the talking starts again.
Oh, and then later, we got as much wrestling as we could ever want, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, just the chaotic form. RVD is backstage. He has a front row for the battle royal, and he's gonna... And tonight's winner will be his first title defense if things go his way. But we move on to a very drawn-out battle royal, which probably how it should be, but it...
This match went longer than every other match on the show combined. I'm not kidding. This thing, including commercial breaks, was goddamn near 30 minutes, which is not a good thing. Because wrestling time isn't any good when it's a fucking endless battle royal that sucks.
What do you say about... Because you can't talk about the specific spots in the fucking battle royal. There's nothing to fucking say about this match. It's just...
Well, if we could say one thing, it's basically that bell rings, Douglas Williams, Brutus Magnus get eliminated.
Yeah.
No, actually, highlight of the match, Eric Young's antics.
Yes.
Especially, he basically runs across the apron, kind of Ultimate Warrior fashion, not really. Like, Jeff Jarrett attempts to, drag him around, and through some kind of way, I forgot, he indirectly gets Gunner eliminated, and they're like, that's the TNA television champion!
Yeah. Makes sense. Eric, and he's got to be amusing himself out there, is the only thing I can think of. But fortunately, it amuses me, too. He does this thing where, randomly, he slingshot jumps back and forth from the apron to inside of the ring, back and forth 10 times in a row, over and over again, then jumps down to the floor, eliminating himself, holding his hands up in triumph. He's like, yeah, I won the big one, and he grabs Gunner's television belt and takes off.
He just runs the fuck away. That was just... I mean, I hate to think that, that I would laugh at them insulting one of their prestigious global, TV, Legends Championship, but global continent. But nonetheless, that I would like to think he's devaluing Gunner a lot more than the belt. So,
but let's get to the point of this, because for anyone who wanted to say that maybe they were the change to being from being TNA wrestling to being Impact Wrestling was going to be all about the homegrown guys and really changing it. The last 3 guys in the match all came from fucking WWE. Except Jeff, who fucking, owns the company.
Yeah, it took us 20 fucking minutes to get to the last 4 guys. It was every shitty battle royal ever.
Yeah, and considering, to interrupt, in the midst of the match, considering people like Rude and Storm are instrumental in their own feuds, and Matt Morgan has his own feud, and Bully Ray has his own thing, Kazarian's part of Fortune. Devon and Pope haven't been used, but nonetheless, they really just seemed like cogs in this.
They were killing time.
And speaking of Pope, which is sad because I know we give the guy a lot of crap, but he has crap to work with. But apparently, he on his Twitter, he has been hinting heavily that he is leaving TNA. Apparently, he just got his criminal justice degree. So he's been basically, his last tweet was kind of like, "Hey, it's been real, but I'm probably not going to be around. You're not going to see me very much."
Yeah. A few comments about that. Number one, all power goes to him. I give him my blessings because he's leaving TNA at the right point because they clearly fumbled the ball with him. I think they should have given him the title last year.
So many times they should have.
He was an over as fuck face.
The one legitimate homegrown star they ever made. Yeah, I know he was in WWE, but he was made.
Yeah, and I know the gimmick was his idea, and he probably came up with everything, but on the booking side of things, he should have been given a bit more legitimacy. They shouldn't have had to bring him into that whole Kurt Angle, if I lose I retire type thing. He should have been contending for the TV title or something. It was a very, very complicated thing, and it's understandable that he's leaving when the last thing he does is torture like this Japanese Kato ripoff and wrestle with a past his prime Samoa Joe.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all and I don't blame him for getting his degree and wanting to do something more with his life. Good for him. Good for him for knowing when to get out. God forbid we have a pro wrestler that knows when to fucking stop. Maybe it's because they broke his will. Maybe it's just because he felt, hey, man, I've had a pretty good run. I've been in my dream company. I've been in the shitty company, but I still made some money. I'm in a pretty good situation where I can do what I want. Good for you. I'm happy for you, Pope. I wish you nothing but the best. And it's just sad that when they had a golden opportunity to finally have their fucking Austin, well, not Austin, but, to have The Rock, the guy who basically benefited from there being a Stone Cold Steve Austin. When they finally had that guy, just, why give that guy the belt? Let's have Rob Van Dam come into the company, beat AJ on free TV for the belt, and then all the other wacky shenanigans.
But moving on from that note to essentially the match, the finish of it was built up in the sense I missed this unfortunately, but apparently in the midst of it, Anderson and Bully Ray go through the middle ropes and we never hear from him until the other two loose ends are tied up, in which Angle and Jarrett are in the ring, and there's a bunch of shenanigans with I believe Jarrett getting the elimination and with Chyna coming out and causing his elimination. That's pretty much the only thing they incorporated into from an external angle into the battle royal, as far as I can see.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because as noted, I don't watch this show much, but Karen Angle doesn't usually get physically involved in matches, correct?
No.
For good reason.
So on the one night where she knows there's a giant clitted Amazon gunning for her, she decides to get involved tonight?
No further comment.
I'm sorry.
After all those shenanigans, Anderson and Bully Ray come back up. Oh, we're not eliminated. It comes down to us. They're kind of going back and forth, exchanging punches, and Anderson tries to do a Kenton, which I don't think I've seen him do that in TNA in months.
Yeah.
But certainly not predominantly. Anyway, it's a battle on the apron, and Ray tries to eliminate him, but Anderson face locks him and just drags him out. You number one contender, you've got your fucking shot. Shut the fuck up. But he doesn't.
Yeah. And by the way, they completely did a clumsy recreation of when Benoit eliminated Big Show at Royal Rumble 2004.
Really?
exact same deal with him slowly dragging him over the top rope. Except in that one it made sense, because Show is 1.5 feet and 300 pounds bigger than Benoit. And Anderson and Bully Ray are damn near the same size, maybe 50 pounds difference.
And then what Anderson says after the match is that he introduces himself as the number one contender, and he says he is to Sting with the Navy SEALs word of Bin Laden. He's locked, loaded, and ready to go, and he's going to give Sting a headshot. God damn it, that was a clunky metaphor.
Classy. Yeah. Sting, I am going to fire a .223 carbine round into your skull and murder you! Ha ha!
And behind him is Samoa Joe with a machete. Anyway,
Sorry.
But Sting's like, oh, I'm happy for you, Henderson. I'm gonna shut you up when I get my match. I don't know. I'm trying as hard as I can to do do Sting's new gimmick of just sounding amazed at everything.
Yeah, like Sting has somehow gotten into this groove where he's just like, I thought I knew the business. I don't even know anymore. I'm just gonna take it as I come. I don't get it, but whatever.
Like, hey, I got this title. I'm gonna defend it. Got no conflict.
And Rob Van Dam is like, hey, Stinger, why do you think that when Anderson gets his title shot, it's gonna be you still holding the belt, dude?
But as if there needed to be any further evidence that, Impact Wrestling, the name change, is going to be all about wrestling. Well, yeah, it might be all about wrestling, but it's certainly not going to be about creating new stars, because the main event at fucking Sacrifice is going to be Mr. Anderson versus Rob Van Dam versus Sting.
And by the way, this show did go off the air with giving me at least a chuckle in the very last second, with Anderson storming back there. He's like, I don't care which one of you guys I have to fight. I'm an equal opportunity asshole.
I can't wait till
asshole. And Rob Van Dam, with just deadpan, no expression on his face, says, yeah, good to know, Ken.
I hate to divert this to the discussion that should occur a month later, but you guys have to look at the Slammiversary 9 poster. It's there's a very conspicuous person that's not involved in any important angles. I mean, Motor City Machine Guns are on there, but we'll talk about that next month. It's fairly humorous. We should probably do a brief run through of the Sacrifice.
Yeah, we're not going to run through all the cards and get the whole thing and give you extensive match predictions, but we'll run through it. Yeah, I know. The first match on the card is going to be Robbie E versus Brian Kendrick. Random. Is there a reason for this match? No.
You're a meditating hippie tree hugger who looks like a clan member, and you're not honest with yourself. You're fist pumping. You're drinking, and you're involved with shitty lifestyles. I don't know. Maybe it's the feud on Explosion. I do not follow Explosion.
It's a generic, oh shit, we still employ these guys.
Yeah,
We've got to use them sometime, man.
Maybe the Arrow knows about something behind this.
Yeah. He watches all that crap. But at any rate. Actually, no, the Arrow doesn't watch Explosion.
He's above that.
Yeah. The next match on the card would be, well, this obviously isn't going to be in card order. I hope not. But the next match would be Tommy Dreamer versus AJ Styles.
Would you rather have that higher on the card?
No. I'd rather it be a fucking dark match.
Okay.
I like AJ, and I like Tommy, but why?
And they had a good match once.
Not since Tommy Dreamer versus fucking Colin Delaney have I been so unenthused for a Tommy Dreamer versus a smaller, younger, skinny guy match.
Well, at least AJ Styles isn't like a really short toothpick. I mean, I can't really judge anything about Colin Delaney. I don't know much about his.
He's kind of cool on the indies.
Yeah, that's I would figure.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a really good worker who they gave him the gimmick of, this guy gets beaten every week. He just gets beaten. He has no chance. No chance at all. He shouldn't be out here.
Spike Dudley was much different.
No, Spike Dudley got pinned.
He was a giant.
Spike Dudley
They
Colin Delaney got his ass handed to him.
Mikey Whipwreck, but they didn't know how to do a Mikey Whipwreck thing.
Yeah, Colin got his ass handed to him every single fucking week and had the announcers bury him, treating him like a special needs kid who shouldn't even be in the ring and he's going to get seriously hurt. And then they said, why isn't he getting over?
Anyways, that's something for an entirely different show. But the next match is going to be Mexican America. What is wrong? Do they not own the fucking trademark on Latin American Exchange anymore? Why can't they just call it fucking LAX?
They now have five fake Mexicans in this company. 5!
Found it ironic that they had those Spanish announcers and they were like, "You're Puerto Rican! You suck!"
But anyway, it's Mexican America, Hernandez, and Anarquia, isn't a fucking word, versus Inc., Jesse Neal, and Shannon Moore. Shannon Moore was supposed to be having a fucking heel turn, but I guess they fucking...
Yeah, wait, who's the babyface here?
Inc. They ran in and attacked Mexican America.
Basically, Jesse Neal cut a fucking "if you don't love it, leave it" promo on them, and I guess their faces now. USA, God damn it, I hate you, Vince Russo.
Jeff Jarrett, intergender tag match. We're going by the Wikipedia order, and it's in reverse Wikipedia order. Jeff Jarrett and Karen Jarrett versus Kurt Angle and China. I honestly don't know what to expect from China these days.
All I can think of is that somebody in the back had a bet saying, I wonder if we could come up with a worse match than Michael Cole versus Jim Ross.
They're gonna put Karen and China in the ring together at one point.
I'm just hoping that China turns on Kurt like sooner than later, so we don't actually have to see Karen and China wrestle.
Or no, I would actually see it for the Alvarez backlash.
Yeah, that would be amusing.
5 stars.
Someone's gonna have to give me a download. I mean, I'm gonna have to buy a subscription for that show.
No, they might make it free just because of the monumental stature of it. But
I've still got my copy of the one with Jenna versus Sharmell.
I mean, hey, all I could just boot up Botchamania 92 and enjoy the hell out of it.
Anyway, the next
Mickey James versus Madison Rayne. Tara's free to work by herself in TNA if Mickey wins. I hope Mickey wins. I would not put it past it for Madison Rayne to get back the title in a more hard-fought match, even though an injured Mickey James beat a completely well Madison in a minute.
Yeah.
So, wait, wasn't Mickey already Knockouts champion then?
No, Mickey's only been Knockouts champion once, I think, right?
Did she win the belt off of Madison at Lockdown?
She did.
Yeah, she won the belt off Madison at Lockdown in like a minute.
Yeah, because she was hurt and couldn't do anything, so it was just the end.
Right, so the next match on the card would be Beer Money versus Matt Hardy and wild, fat Chris Harris.
Versus Immortal or washed up and fat.
A long-haired Orson Welles.
French.
It's for the we didn't say it was going to be for the TNA World Tag Team Championships.
My guess is that they're going to lose and then...
I just had a scary thought. Now that they're Impact Wrestling, they're going to shell out, a couple $100 on new belts, right? A couple $100,000, rather.
Yeah.
Or they could just put tape on it like Sabu did to the FTW belt. But
no, that makes too much sense. They wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
For all the money they lost, ECW knew how to save money.
My prediction, Immortal wins, Chris Harris, James Storm does the turn, and they freebird the belts.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. If I had to make a prediction, that would be it. Otherwise, I'm just predicting a really fucking horrible wrestling match that not even beer money can save.
Honestly, again, I'm always I'm always curious about TNA's pay-per-views because it's nonstop wrestling, and the fact of the matter is, it's just roulette. Either you win or it's just a lot of haphazard other numbers.
And the next match on the card is going to be Abyss versus Crimson.
I concur with that sound effect.
And I like both of these guys, kind of, but... And I've worked with both of these guys, for Christ's sake. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I don't see this being anything.
So when are they going to actually have Abyss do like a Mick Foley type gimmick where the mask comes off and he becomes like, and they start calling him Chris Parks and...
I've seen him without the mask.
This is the main page on his Wikipedia. The main picture on his Wikipedia page just shows him. He looks like a hippie stoner.
Yeah, he looked like Big Show's shorter, fatter cousin, basically.
And then the match, obviously this is not going to be the match that comes before the main event, but it's Kazarian versus Max Buck for the X Division Championship.
Kazarian versus, oh yeah, he won that cage match.
Did we forget about that a month ago? Oh yeah, we did forget about that month ago.
I mean, neither one of them were on the fucking show at all tonight, so...
And as we mentioned before, it's going to be Sting versus RVD. Wait, is it Sting versus RVD just for the title, or is it Sting versus Rob Van Dam versus Mr. Anderson?
No,
just Sting and RVD.
God damn it, I can't even keep this shit straight anymore. So Anderson gets his title shot at a later fucking date then.
Yeah.
Why? Just put him in the triple threat match.
Because...
He's gonna lose and he's gonna bitch about not getting his rematch anyway, so what the fuck is the point?
Because... Hey... Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones are over here in nice suits, and they have a flashy thingy they want you to look at. That's why.
You can't keep doing that to me, Genghis. I'm gonna remember eventually.
You're gonna give him brain cancer.
There goes your ability to do algebra.
But we're gonna wrap this shit up before we get more depressed. And we're gonna end it with a round of everybody's favorite game. What got more screen time than Jay Lethal?
The long and storied sexual tension history between Mick Foley and China got more screen time than Jay Lethal.
Chris Harris's second chin got more screen time than Jay Lethal.
China's massive surgically enhanced breasts got more screen time than Jay Lethal.
Yeah, what the fuck happened there? Did she, trade up a size of implants that were triple the old ones?
I don't know. They don't look comfortable, though. I know she's addicted to plastic surgery, but come on, China. Oh, from our producer duos, Terrace Corset got more screen time than Jay Lethal. Madison Rain's perfect white girl ass got more screen time than Jay Lethal. I understand
you mean Tessmacher?
Everybody, but I don't care. She has the perfect ass.
Yes. Abyss's Gums got more screen time than Jay Lethal.
And on that bombshell, we will end tonight. I'm No Leaf Clover.
I'm Christopher Says.
And I am Genghis.
Good night, everybody. Good night and good luck. God help us with this show.